yeah, just give us a slight introduction and we'll go to the questions.
My name is Emmanuel, and I apologize that I'm also babysitting today. So I came with 2 visitors, but they had to leave because of the timing as well, and I apologize for that. What do? I am part of KCV, the International Student Desk. That's how we shortened it, and we just try to solve a few issues, be a source of information for all international students who are coming into the country and the ones who are already here. So it's an ongoing affair, and we are learning every day, and we thank God that so far, with the help of the community, we're able to reach out to quite a number of students through different platforms, and we're hoping that God will continue blessing us so that we can give the right information and help the transition of the students into this country and into their careers that God has given them to be as smooth as possible. Thank you.
Praise God. Praise God again. My name is Isaac Mayaka. I am the last born to the Mayaka family. What I do, I'm a student in Deakin University. I study Bachelor of Arts and Education. Yeah.
This is Hello everyone. My name is Wanjeko Gishane. I am a GIS student at Monash. I've been here for a year, and I'm just here excited to have open and honest conversations.
Amazing, thank you, Ejiko. And last but not least,
God is good, and all the time. By name, I go Daisy Toet. I'm a social worker by profession, and I'm currently working with Salvation Army, helping homeless men. Yeah.
amazing. Thank you, our lovely panelists. So we'll just get your views or just understand your journey a little bit, and we'll just ask you a few questions. Hopefully you're up for the task already, you're in front, so you're I'll get Dorothy to ask the first question, and then we can proceed from there.
Now, because of time, I'll be asking a question, but I'll be targeting specifically. So now that I know all of you, I'll be giving you a specific question. So I'll start with Daisy. What's one thing you overlooked coming to study in Australia that became very crucial?
There's a lot of things. To begin with, I didn't realize how being away from family can really impact you, both negatively and positively. Secondly, I didn't know how my qualifications in Kenya could turn out to be kind of useless. Yeah.
Let me just add one more thing. One thing I've realized is also as part of the KCV committee and also interacted with a lot of students. Sometimes actually your certificates in Kenya can be very valid here. So if you have a profession in Kenya, I've seen friends who've come here, they have professions from IT or engineering. They can be employed with your certificate. As long as you're honest with your employer and you just show your experience, your certificate can still be valid. So you want to give that a try as well.
To respond to that, don't get me wrong. Useless in the sense that I've been here for 8 years. 8 years ago, it was hard to get employed here without the Australian experience. And with time, I kind of find things have become a little bit more simpler, but talking of 8 years ago, that was hard. So that's something that I'd say has changed over the 8 years that I've been here.
Thank you very much, Daisy. That's really wonderful. So the next question is, what things or people made with your students' experience enjoyable looking back so far? Isaiah, this is for you as a university student.
Right. I haven't been in university for that long, but just to clarify the question, what's made my experience better or enjoyable as a student?
Yeah.
Okay. To answer that, I think obviously my family has played a major role. I'm very fortunate enough to have my nuclear family here with me. It's a blessing. I don't take that for granted. I didn't come here alone. I came with mom and my brothers. So my family has played that role in terms of making my life here enjoyable. We laugh a lot at home. And also community. I am part of the worship team. I started playing, I think, around 2016, and just being part of a church, and now my parents' church, serving there and being around a community of people like me, people who serve God, even being around Kenyans as well, has made my experience very enjoyable, where I'd go to school. I remember, because I came here in grade 5, I was the only black person in my whole primary school. And I was a tourist attraction. Like, I remember the first day my dad dropped me, he didn't stay. He didn't stay for a long time or stay till half the day. And then he dropped me, and because he had stuff to do, so he went. And as soon as I stepped into where the kids were sitting, all of them were Australian. I think I only saw one Indian there. And I was wearing a jumper that said Australia. As soon as I stepped in, everyone looked back. And that was something I didn't expect would happen, but it did. But I think just coming back to my family, coming back, or even during Sundays, meeting people of my own culture, same skin and all that, that has made my experience a bit more enjoyable. Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac. I'll also ask the same question to you, Wanjiku. What's one thing that has made your student life enjoyable?
Definitely being around Kenaus. I love coming to church. I usually say that place really heals my homesickness, and I don't really feel homesick. It's amazing to be surrounded by Kenaus, by people who are like-minded. I feel that I've gotten comfortable just going to spaces, even if people don't look like me, but I'm interested in this. Let me just go and see, and I've met amazing people like that. It's been amazing.
Thank you. May I just add on that and just, summarize that and say, your student experience here, it depends with you. It's your choice. So if you want to have an enjoyable life, if you want to have an enjoyable life as a student, it's up to you. Whether you come to church, whether you come to Kenaus where you can meet people, that's that one choice that you're making. And don't forget, there is plenty of activities that go on at universities or colleges. Sometimes they do lunch like a Vietnamese roll, like they will do like an African cuisine. These are the activities that are available for free at university. So if you feel like your life is boring, it's you who has not stepped out, actually. So you need to sit down and think about that. There's so many opportunities that Australian universities and colleges offer. That there's basketball team that you can go practice at school. There is basketball team, like ISO here has a basketball team, and team members. So it's up to you to make that friendship. And they just don't come in, it just find you seated. You're the one who has to make a step. I hope that makes it clear. So back to our question again. How did you navigate and manage finances while studying, Daisy?
Well, that's a tricky one. How did I navigate? Probably having your priorities right. I'd say being in the right place, at the right time, with the right people. Because if you entangle yourself with the wrong group of people, there's a possibility that you'll be finding yourself making wrong decisions, which comes with financial repercussions. And also, just reminding yourself what brought you here. Like, if you come here as an international student, you obviously came to study, and that should be your primary goal. And keeping that focus, I think, helps you avoid things that you end up spending money unnecessarily. And also, remembering where you came from, which is very relative. Where I come from and probably where Mom and Dorothy come from is totally different. So understanding your roots and how that money came about is very crucial, because you can easily come to Australia, the land of milk and honey, and where you go to the trees and you can get some $50 notes, $100 notes, and forgetting that things are tough. So remembering where you come from, and pretty much the affordable things that you can do without having to break the bank. So yeah.
Thank you.
And working hard.
Thanks very much, Daisy. I wanted to ask this question to Emmanuel, but it looks like Marlon, this will be for you. What could you have done better if you were to look back?
Oh wow.
Maybe everyone will have to choose.
Yeah, bro, that's a
We'll start with you, Isaac.
that's a hard one.
We'll let you think it for a minute. Isaac, we'll start with you.
What could I have done different? I think, because obviously my experience is I did a bit of primary school here. I finished my high school here as well, and then I transitioned into uni. So I think as a student, looking back, I think there wasn't, my first year in uni, I didn't ask for much help. I didn't reach out, and sometimes I just think, it'd be too much, it would be a stretch to, go and ask a question to the lecturer, to go and to raise up questions. And I think if I look back, that's something, and I'm even trying to apply more now, because I'm still in the journey. Just asking questions, asking for help. It's, I think, something you have to switch in your mentality where if you can't fix it, you can ask for help. And life is not about, in every area, let me just pull up my socks, let me pull up my socks. And even as Beatrice was talking about, trusting God, ask God questions. God is not this very distant person who's just looking at the earth, seeing how his little beings are doing. He's a God who's concerned about your life. He's a God who's concerned about your uni. He's concerned about your finances. He's concerned about every aspect of your life. So for me, it's asking questions. I think asking for help when needed is something I didn't grasp as I started uni, but now as I've gone by, it's something that I'm learning and adapting.
Thank you, Isaac. Manchiko?
I feel that I wish I would have known that life is not very linear, and because life is not very linear, I shouldn't be so rigid with the expectations that I have for my life here. You can have a plan, and a very detailed plan, and you can be very good at following through with your plans, but sometimes things happen, and I wish I would have known, okay, this unexpected situation has happened, how do I cope with that, how do I prioritize my well-being, how do I let go of the expectations that I have for myself or the expectations that other people have for me, and just do my best with what I have and what I can, and feeling that there's no shame in, oh, this is the situation, this is the best that I can do, and it might not be where I would want to be, but being okay in that space. I definitely think I would have been a lot more gentle and kind, especially when unexpected situations happen.
Thank you. For me, I wish I knew actually that there are so many, I wish I knew earlier that there are so many opportunities as a student, not just going to class, finish your class, go to work, go home, or just class and that's it. I wish I knew there are leadership positions as uni, and it's actually for all of us. It's not for Australians only, it's for international students as well. And I wish I knew that earlier, because it was one of my strengths, but I sat on it. I was afraid, I was scared, I was scared to interact with people as well. I wish I knew that earlier, because that would have lifted me way, way, way far. But let me just encourage everyone, there are so many opportunities at universities and colleges. As international students, please just don't look at you coming to study and that's it. Look for those opportunities in there, because they give you connections. They give you real good connections. And when I mean connection is, you get to experience things that you never imagined you would have experienced in your life here. You get to interact with people way high that you never can imagine what you will be. So please, not studying alone. There is plenty of fun things at uni. You only have to step up, as I said before. Daisy.
I definitely can resonate with what the boss said. Just to reinforce on what Isaac has said, being afraid to ask. And I don't know whether it's a cultural thing, but probably where we come from, how we grew up. But being afraid to ask for help, which for me I would say it probably came at a later stage in my studies where, yes, I know I can ask and I get the help, but then there's that voice in me telling me, no, don't ask, it looks maybe stupid or something. without realizing there is power in asking. And in asking, you may get more than what you anticipated. And you may get further support moving forward. So don't be scared to ask, be it in school, be it within your circle, because you'll be surprised at what you can get. Because you sit on your problems, and then it does affect your mental health. You keep quiet in that corner of yours, and then before you know it, you're far gone, that it's even harder to get you out of that place. So don't be scared to ask, it will take you places.
Thank you, everyone. I think, yeah, I share the same sentiments. I think also for me, and for me it's a bit different in terms of, I think during uni life, for me was reshaping my mentality, even looking at what it means to pass and fail. You know, if you get a 70, or you get a 60, or you get a 50, it doesn't mean, like, the education system here is meant for you to pass. So for me, when I got a 60, I was like, I wanted to get HD. So, you know, my friends, I had these very passionate people that wanted HD. So me, I was just following the path that I wanted HDs. But one unit, I think I didn't fail. I got like a good 60, but in that mentality, I felt like I failed. But it wasn't a failure. I actually passed, and I really got a good mark. So for me, it was just changing and reshaping that failure perspective, or even from coming from home, you've probably even maybe you've gotten those good grades, and at one point in time you have a slightly, you come short from what you have expected. It's not that it means that unit alone will inform everything about your future, because what I've even found even in the marketplace, after you get in, rarely do they even ask for your papers. They come as an add-on later on, but probably that will also be very subjective depending on field. But your papers will also inform the character you are. They look at other skills in the job market. Even when you're getting a job, they look at other things, not just your grade. So your grade is just part, even 20% of the person that you are. So even changing that mentality for me was very key. I think from the questions, there's one more question left. But just in the sort of the same theme for tonight, and just knowing that I think it will be great to, even from the panelists, to even get your journey in terms of thus far. How has God been a pivotal point in your life? How has He been Ebenezer in your life? Because probably someone here is sitting, maybe they're facing a challenge and they don't know how to navigate. How, probably even you're undergoing a challenge right now, how do you navigate that, and how do you even see that coming to this theme? How has God really shown up in your life? I'll start with Isaac.
I think for me, just realizing that God is someone you can trust. I think throughout this year, I've been learning what it means to trust God in everything. And I can even remember I was sharing here in the youth Kenaus, and that sharing was out of a lived testimony, because God actually showed me that if you trust me, I will take care of your needs. If you trust me, I'll take care of you. I'll come through for you. And yes, and for me, I think the trusting God has been a decision I've made, and it's not an easy decision. Disclaimer, because sometimes life will get to you, and point in times you want to quit. You want to say, or I think for me sometimes it will turn into this like, I just don't care, and I just, let it go. And what I've been trusting in God just becomes, and clinging on to God in those moments, it can be hard, it can be challenging, but I encourage you to cling on to God because He is trustworthy, He has proven Himself, and even I think being grateful of where He's brought you, from. Sometimes in those situations, those trying times, those trials, we forget the miracles God has performed in other seasons. We forget how God has intervened in other places, and you're so focused on your situation that even sometimes that voice of God is so hard to hear. The signal is so is quite far. It's not you're not even on the same frequency as to hear God's voice. And I think it is, for me, that's I'm always convicted where I'm so consumed with my situation that I'm not even keen or attentive to what God is saying. And so with that, I've agreed with God that in every situation I'm going to try my best to trust you. This is a decision I'm living my life on, and God has proven Himself, so I'm not looking back. So yeah, I think that's how God, or that's sort of a lesson that I'm learning. That trusting God it's fundamental to my growth. It's fundamental to this Christian life that I live. It's not. I'm just not praising a God that I'm not praising Him and then not trusting Him with the situations that I go through. Yeah. Chico?
Wow. And in the last year, I feel like God has, getting to experience God's presence has been actually the biggest highlight of my year. And when I moved here, I experienced a loss, and I'm so grateful for God's presence because I really felt Him, like carrying me through that situation, and felt His presence. And even at a time when I fell out of touch with God, I really felt Him like draw closer to me, provide for me, and honestly right now I feel like I am truly living in the peak of God's restoration. For me to feel that He's restored peace and joy and brought such instant healing, and He comes through in ways. I've really learned that sometimes He's not blessing you in the ways that you expect Him to. If it's like, the different markers of success that we have for our personal lives, sometimes He's really making you experience His presence and showing you how valuable it is. And that has been such a memorable and actually such a turning point in my life here. So yeah.
That's good.
I was expecting yes. Thank you, Anjiko. That's praise the Lord. For me, I'll testify, yes. The five comes the Lord. I came here when I was 19, just fresh from the world, fresh from, all my life I spent in high school. Boarding school, so fresh from the world, knew nothing. I was here. I was dependent on myself to guide myself as a student, as an international student. And not to cut the long story short, Thus far as well. There's been so many ups and downs, but I can't compare it to the favor that I've seen from God. I can't compare it to the number of times I went on crying and I was telling God, I can do this, and you alone can guide me. And me here right now, I've created a pathway already for my siblings. I've created a pathway already for my family members that have come to join me. And I sit down and just think about it and I say, it's the glory of God, nothing else. And just recently, it doesn't end, when the devil decides to come in any time, when God, is doing something good in your life, it comes in any time, it never ends. So, just recently, I started my placement. I'm still at uni, and I started my placement as nursing for my nursing placement. And 1 week before my placement, I get an email to say, you will not be able to attend your placement. And this is the reason is this and this and this. And if you will go to placement, you will not be able to finish your placement. You will be removed from placement. And this meant that I had to do 1 more year of school. This meant that I had to, the whole 8 or 10 weeks of study that I had already done, this meant that all of that is useless. You start over again the unit, And you're like, hey, God, I have come this far, I have struggled as a student. And I didn't come here to keep studying all the time, school. It's time I finish it, It's time this comes to an end. And I'm in my week 3 of placement, so next week I'm going week 4. And I remember I prayed this with Beatrice, and we prayed together, and I just told God and myself, I was telling myself inside, I'm going to finish this placement. And when I finish this placement, it's going to be a testimony. I'm going to my week 4, and I can assure you I'm never going to receive that email to say you are out of placement, because I've already gotten an assurance I'm going to finish my placement. And I've already gotten an assurance from God already that, I will finish my studies at a certain period that I was meant to finish. And sometimes you may feel like as though everything is coming to a shutdown, because that's what I felt. 2 weeks ago, that's what I felt. 3 weeks ago, that's what I felt. But I've always learned to, let God's plan be. There's a reason as to why some things happen. And sometimes we might struggle, but at the end of the day, God's plan, if God's plan is this, that's how it's going to be. You can't change God's plan. So, being a student, that's why the Lord. We're still struggling, but that's why the Lord, and we're going to make it. So you be motivated today as a student and just know God, and God is the only person that can walk with you. As Beatrice has mentioned, be still and know that I am God. The worship that we had today, the testimony that Beatrice has given today, be still and know that I am God, and He's always there to walk with me. You just have to show yourself up, and you just have to serve God, and you just have to be committed with God, and that's how your life is going to be easy. That's all. Thanks.
We'll go to Daisy, and then we'll wrap up.
For me, having grown up in a Christian family, I was always sheltered, and I believed in the faith of my parents. But coming to Australia, through the journey, I learned that you have to work and believe in God, develop your own faith, and not believing in mom and dad praying for me. Yes, I know they pray for me, and there are days where you stop and think, God, when is this going to end? When is this going to change? And if you know me, my student journey hasn't been so easy. At some point, having to commute between 2 states to keep up with the student visa. But with all that, you get to a point where you're like, does God really exist? You can't, sometimes you question God and you're like, God, why is this all happening to me? Will it ever get better? But deep down, you still keep the trust. And believe in God that one day things will get better. And me being here today, that's a testimony that God still has me. And it's not going to end. And whatever is written down for me, it's going to happen according to His will. It's just about believing, which sometimes can be hard, especially when things are tough. But at the end of the day, God remains to be God, and He has me. And the other thing I'd say, sometimes you see, you probably just arrived in Australia a few months, maybe a year, and you see others are really doing well, but trust me, it was not easy. It wasn't really easy. And as Miley Cyrus says, it's not about what I have now, it's about the journey. Because if you look forward to having that certificate and without being considerate of what happened between when you started and when you got to the end, then it's useless. Because being a student, don't just look forward to getting that degree. Think about every little thing that you go through to get that degree, because it's a lesson. It could be teaching you being patient. It could be teaching you to be humble, because sometimes with our pride, you kind of think you've got it all. But God is there to remind you, look here child, that's not how things go. You need to be humble, respect the people that are around you, because without respect, you'll not get anywhere. And getting into the job market, we also need to remember respect. It's not like I'll see Marlon and akuja akigonga kifua akisema, oh, I've got HDs, as he said. Yeah. You'll quickly learn that respect and humility will take you places. So the sooner you realize, the better. Because you'll think you're the brainy, but without God, you'll be humbled. So don't get your pride, don't let your pride lead you. Let God humble you, and you'll get to places.
Thank you. Just to actually summarize that, I think Daisy has brought into perception about the journey and also about humility as a very key word. Dorothy brought about persistence and even in the journey. Onjiko shared about restoration and how it has brought her even from a grief point to where she is now. There is some form of restoration and God has been in that journey. And Isaac also has made it very clear in terms of making that a decision to turn up wherever you're called to, especially if it's service, making sure your relationship with God is a decision, it's a personal decision. And even as Daisy mentioned, it's not the God of our families or the God of mom and dad, it's the God having that personal relationship with God. And I think for me, just to summarize, I think even in that breadth thus far, I think for me it was just realizing that God is the one who brought you from wherever you are. He started the good work and he will see it to completion. So He hasn't brought you this far to see you to fail. God will make sure, like God is not in the business of bringing out failures. We have all been made for greater things. So greater things are not for some particular people, it's for all of us. So just know, even in this journey, there is completion. And that completion doesn't end until you fulfill your purpose in this earth. So thank you so much, our panelists. Just give them a round of applause.